All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're going to be working on 8.2, which was perimeters of composite figures, right? And so we're going to do a little warm up. Now, if you're not remembering the, circumference or perimeter formulas for any of these, remember perimeter and circumference are the same thing. This is of a quadrilateral or a polygon. And this is around a circle, right? So this is just distance around any type of shape. This is the distance around a circle. Okay, so I put these shapes in here so you can see. Now it says a square with the side length of 4 centimeters, right? Now with the square, we know that each side is going to be equal, right? So we can simply just say 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. Or another easy way to do that with repetitive addition is to use multiplication. And so we get 16 centimeters, right? Now it's not squared because it's just adding up the distance around the shape. All right, so the rectangle with the length of 5 feet, right? So there's a little bit different sides, right? And the width of 3.5 feet, right? Now the area would be 5 times 3.5, and that would be the space inside this. But we're doing the distance around, right? And so we will just simply say 3.5 there. So if we start here and we walk ourselves all the way around this rectangular shape, we would be 5 plus 3.5 plus 5 plus 3.5, right? Or 5 times 2 plus 5 times 2 plus 3.5 times 2. Okay, so we have 10 plus 7, right? So we end up with 17 feet. All right, same thing here, 19-inch length, 19-inch length, 7-inch width, 7-inch width. So if we said 19 times 2 plus 7 times 2, we have 38 plus 14, and we end up with 40 plus 12, 52 inches. Now you might ask, why are we doing this right now? It's so basic. Well, the idea is that we're going to be maybe combining this rectangular shape and this shape right here, or this circle would cut in half and add to the top of this shape, right? So you might see a shape that looks like it has two different shapes attached to it, right? So we might add a semicircle onto here, right? And then we say, well, what's the shape of this? Well, we need to figure out the perimeter of this rectangle plus the perimeter of this semicircle. All right. So yellow doesn't show up very well, so I'm gonna get rid of it. But so we have triangle with side lengths. They're all different. So this would be what type of a triangle if you're basing off the sides. I'll give you a minute to think about that. All sides are different. That would be called a scalene triangle. So say, oh yeah, if I got that correct. We just add up all three of these, right? So we have 10 plus 8 plus 7, right? We have 15 here, plus 10 is 25 meters around this triangle. We're going to use our circumference formula. It gives us a radius, so we'll use 2 pi r. Circumference equals 2 times 9, right? So 2 times pi times 9, 18 times 3.14, and we get circumference equals 56.52 inches. Right, so we have diameter formula, so we say circumference equals pi times the diameter, and we would then say that's pi times 20, and so 3.14 times 20, and we get circumference equals 62 and 8/10. Don't forget those units, feet. All right. So looking at that, we have a little bit more of a warm up here. We are going to estimate the perimeter of these figures, right? And so how I like to do that is simply just by going through and writing down. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. This is 1, right? Now that's 1, that's 1, that's 1, that's 1, that's 1, that's 1, right? But then we also have our other shapes, right? And so we have one right here, 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 and one right here, right? And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the red, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the yellow, right? So we have 6 there, and 6 red, for a total of 12, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. So 6 plus 6 plus 12, 6 times 4 equals 24. Now, I want you to look at something really fast. Now, if I took this shape, right, and I decided to I'm just going to erase everything really fast. So we got 24 around there. Right, and I'm going to just take this shape and I'm going to blow it up for us really fast. Right? Now, what should I do with my pen? Well, this is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 6. And that is 6. Now, we just got 24 units, right? But this is also 24 units. And what basic shape did we use? You guessed it. We used a square, right? So we filled in, right? So it's like if I put this piece went out. This piece went out. This piece went out. This piece went out. This piece went out, right? And then I used all these different colors so you can see. And we said that, this piece went down there, and this piece went down there, and this piece went down there, and this piece went down there. See how it just forms a square? It's just these units have been smooshed in, right? So this piece was missing, right? But that piece goes out, right? So when I'm saying that goes down there, I'm talking about this piece would become this piece down there at the bottom of that square. Okay? So it's another way to look at it. All right, so moving forward, I'm going to push pause, let you do the rest of your estimation, and then we'll come back and do a little check-in. All right, so the next one is done for you right there. You can see that if I just drew the box around, all these pieces would just go out and meet up with the square. So another 24 unit object. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 units there. We have 2 units there. Now there is a precise way to figure this out, which I will look at and show you a little bit later. But kind of say how many units did this pass. So I'm going to say this is roughly 3, and that's roughly 3, right? Because it goes from here down to here, and it passes through 3 of the units, right? And so 6 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 equals 14 units. Okay. All right. So continue on. So we say that this is 3, 3, 3, right? And then we're going to say, okay, well, from here to here, right? So what is the distance around that half circle, right? And so we can kind of look at this and say to ourselves, rid of that for a second. Okay, well, this takes up about 1, right? So that's 1, and then this one might take up around 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we had 9. Where did 9 come from? 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5, And so we say approximately 14 units around the shape, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have to get from here all the way to here, right? And the idea here is that we're going to look at, okay, well, if this was kind of flipped up into a straight line, so you take this line and then bring it up, right? How many would it cross, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say roughly, and so roughly 18 units. Right, so we have a concave right here, so we have to say, okay, well, it's taking up, perimeter is still covering up, right? Still taking up this many units, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That's 6, that's 6, that's 4, and this is also would be 4, right? So, because it's still taking it from here to here. And so we would say that 12 plus 8 equals 20, so roughly 20 units. It might take up a little bit less space or a little bit more, but we're just doing a rough estimate. All right, so the idea here is to figure out how can you find the perimeter of the composite figure. All right, so again, the perimeter, not the area. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So that's 6. So the bottom will also be 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4, right? But now we have to look at, okay, well, I like yellow, I don't know why I picked yellow. Right? We have this and this, that's 2, so this is also 2, right? And then we have to do this distance, right? So if we're looking at this distance, how many is it taking up? Well, it's taking up 1, 2, 3, 4 different pieces and 4 different pieces. So estimated at 6 plus 6 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 4. Right, so that's all of those all the way around. Dun, 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 dun. Right, so 12, we have 8, 8, and 4. Now I fixed my pen, it was kind of going wild there. So 20 plus 12 would be approximately 32. Now these next, I'll put units on there. So now we want to look at the next couple, which are for you to do on your own. So I'm going to push pause and let you find the perimeter, right, the perimeter of the figure. So estimate it, and we'll come back on and check in a second. Push pause now and try them yourself, and then come back on, and the answers will be there for you. All right, so looking at this one now, we have estimate these perimeters. So I got around 18 units. If you got a little bit less, a little bit more, that's fine, because we are estimating. All right, and then down here we have 37 units. Again, just estimating the perimeter. All right, so let me get this off. It drives me crazy when it's like that. All right, so now it says find the figure. The figure is made up of a semicircle and a triangle. Find the perimeter. Now we're not actually estimating, right? But we can do an estimation to help us. Okay, well, what do we think, right? So we know that this is 8, this is 6, right? So we know that this distance right here is 8, so we have 8 plus 6 plus, okay, we have a semicircle, all right? We see that this is about 10, okay? And so I'd say roughly about 10, and so just thinking about, we're going to look at this, and it's be around 24 feet, right? So if we get some bogus number or something really small or something really big, we know that we did our estimate. And that was the whole point of the estimation right there. But we can figure this out. We have a semicircle, right? So we have one shape right here. We're going to find, oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on with my pen today. It is being wacko. Let's see if I put a pen back on, if it's going to do the same thing. And then we have another one right here. that we know, right? And so we know that it's going to be 8 plus 6, right? Plus whatever this semicircle is. And so we'd say the perimeter of that is going to be 8 plus 6 plus circumference formula, right? So circumference equals 2 pi r, or pi times d. It gives us diameter, so we'll probably use this one. And then we'll divide that by 2 to get half of the circle, okay? And so we're looking at that, we're saying, okay, well, pi times the diameter, right, and divided by 2. So 8 plus 6 is 14, plus, again, pi times 10 divided by 2. So if I get my calculator out, 3.14 times 10 divided by 2 equals 15.7, right? Add those together and you end up with 29.7 feet. And that is an exact perimeter. So we look to see what our estimate was. It was 24, not too far off of 29.7. So we'd say that our perimeter of this shape is 29.7. All right. So the running track is made up of a rectangle and 2 semicircles. And 2 semicircles, you put them together, what do they make? It makes, nope, not a hamburger bun, a circle, right? And so we won't need to divide by 2. We'll just say, okay, well, this circle, half circle, semicircle, plus this semicircle equal 1 full circle. And so we're looking at that. It gives us that the radius is 32 meters, but diameter is made up of 2 radii. So this is also 32 meters. So I know that together it's 64 meters, right? So if I have a rectangle, I have 64 meters. I have 100 meters. I just flip that rectangle up on its side. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe we should just view it as we see it. And we'll draw it like this, right? So 64 meters, 100 meters. So now this side is also 100 meters, and this is also 64 meters, right? So for just the rectangle, the perimeter equals 100 plus 100 plus 64 plus 64. All right, so let's figure out our semicircle, or sorry, a circle. So we have a circle with the radius of 32 meters, or diameter of 64, doesn't matter, equals 2 pi times 32, right? So 2 times 3.14 times 32, circumference equals 296 meters, right? So that would be this right here and this together, right? Now if I wanted to do separate, I would divide by 2. I just add it twice, okay? So that color. I have perimeter of the rectangle is 328 meters plus the perimeter of the circle, the circumference of 296 meters. And so together, we would say that 328 plus 200.96 is 528.96 meters. See how that was done? All right, a couple for you to do on your own. If you would like to push pause right now and to complete those, you may. I'm going to push pause and do them right now so you can see how they are worked out. All right, so I just worked that out. I found out my circumference of my semicircle, put a little s right there, just a semicircle. And the only difference between the circumference is we divide by 2. And so I used my diameter, right? So the distance across the middle of the circle, it was 26 centimeters diameter, right? And so I plug that in, I divide by 2, I get 40.82 centimeters. I add my distance of the base of my triangle plus the height of my triangle, and that was 34 centimeters, so I add it together for 74.82 centimeters. Now this one might help to draw some lines here, right? Because we also know that that's 5.5. We also know that that's 14. Now if this is 4, so what is this distance? Right? Well, that's just 12 point minus 4. So that equals 8.5 feet. So obviously this side equals 8.5 feet. So you have to use some intuitive thinking there to figure those out. So now we have to add all those up. We have, I'm going to start right here. 4 plus 14 plus 4 plus 8.5. Now I could have just done 12.5 for the whole thing too. Plus 14 plus 5.5 plus 8.5 plus 5.5, ran out of room. Alright, so calculator up. 4 plus 14 plus 4 plus 8.5 plus 14 plus 5.5 plus 8.5 plus 5.5. So I get 64 feet. Now, since I had so many numbers, I'm going to do it one more time just to double check my math, make sure my fat fingers didn't hit a number that shouldn't have hit. And also, while working with a calculator, it's always wise just to do it calculations one more time. You'll be surprised at how many times you make a little mistake, and we get so used to trusting our calculator to be the right answer that sometimes we make mistakes and we just write it down. Okay, so double check your math. All right, it didn't take very long either. So next slide right here. This is really important. This is how I'm going to know that you watched this video till the end. Go to Google Classroom to complete and submit the exit ticket for today. Must be done by 11:30 or no credit. This is absolute for every single student. You just have the notes. You should be able to do this one. I just went through an example like this one, so go back to your example right here, right, and try to do this one right. Okay, so I'm not going to do it for you, but I'll be looking for your answers on Google Classroom. Either submit just an answer. Actually, never mind. I do not want that. Just if you printed this out, take a picture of this last slide for me with your answer boxed, right? So I should see that perimeter equals something boxed, right? But I should see all your work right there, right? Or on another piece of paper if you don't have a printer. All right, folks, thanks for listening.